Scenario 3 and 4 by Daniela Romero.
Kayla Johnson.
Jordan Minter.
And Alinda Pratt.
Key roles.
I'm Kayla Johnson. I'll be playing the role of President of NBC News.
Daniela Romero. I'll be playing the roles of University Police Chief and Jane Q. Publer.
I'm Alinda Pratt, and I'll be playing the role of University President.
And I'm Jordan Minter. I will be playing the role of the reporter for the local newspaper Roanoke Times.
10:17 a.m. April 2007. University officials send out another email canceling classes and telling people to stay where they are.
As a university president, the decision to cancel classes and tell people to remain where they are is the best decision. My motivation is to continue to evaluate the situation taking place by working with the information provided by police. It is my job to ensure the safety of the student victims, faculty, and family members who are concerned.
10:52 a.m. April 2007, Part 1. The email students and staff reporting multiple shootings with multiple victims in Norris Hall. They say the shooter has been arrested. He is in fact dead, and the police are looking for a possible second shooter. Students locked down in a media writing class begin to use computers and cell phones to report the story for a student-run news website, planetblacksburg.com, feeding their information to the webmaster locked down in another building. Local media report the story to their website.
As a local reporter for the Roanoke Times, our online team has now shared a headline article titled Tragedy at West Virginia Tech.
"10:52 a.m. April 2007, Part 2. The Roanoke Times reports multiple victims. The student paper, the Collegiate Times, reports one dead. The university holds a press conference, and President Charles Sumner says that there were two shootings, one in West Ambler Johnson Resident Hall and another in Norris Hall. He says the number of fatalities is unconfirmed. He says the shooters in Norris Hall is dead. However, police separately tells reporters that there were at least 20 dead, and a local hospital reports 21 wounded.
As a university president, making the decision to hold a press conference is the best practice as it relates to crisis communications. This is a fast developing story, and as a university president, I can take initiative to report information that will not cause widespread panic amongst students and family. This press conference provides the opportunity to put facts straight and recap on the events that took place so the media can understand properly what has happened.
As the university police chief, I also publish a separate press release only after informing all the parents and family of the tragedy that has occurred on our campus. If the family allows us, we use the victim's name in our report rather than the shooter's name. As police chief, I will try not to refer to the shooter by name, as we have seen in the past that part of the motivations for these crimes can be they wish for recognition or to be remembered for their crimes. Although the no notoriety movement didn't start until 2012, I believe it's still relevant in this situation. Poynter Institute wrote in an article that researchers have understood that part of these people's motivation can be to be remembered and have some form of notoriety.
Calls are flooding in from the news media across the country to the university, police, and hospitals as the nation focuses on the story. The White House Deputy Press Secretary reports President George W. Bush is horrified by the news. As the president of NBC News, after getting in contact with the local media in Virginia, I was made aware of the student-run news website. It is a first-account perspective. I would choose to consider to use the information that is released on the website. When the university held a press conference with Charles Sumner, I thought it would give us more insight on what occurred on the campus that day, but it turned out to confuse more people and myself than made more settled. The part that had me and my reporters the most confused was when Charles Steckner stated the number of fatalities were unconfirmed, but some local reporters were told by police personnel that there were 20 fatalities, and local hospitals released to the media that 21 were wounded. This is the most important information that cannot be miscommunicated. We have the families of these students to keep in mind, and released untrue information isn't being respectful of the families.
Tragedy at West Virginia Tech. Multiple victims in a pair of shootings on the campus of West Virginia Tech. Earlier this month, a fatal shooting took place in North Hall, killing multiple and wounding many. Those wounded were rushed to the local hospital. The suspect, whom appeared to be the shooter, was found dead upon police arrival. The school remains on a lockdown. Despite the hurt, some parents are curious about care violence and gun laws in their neighborhood. We are following media students online that are on lockdown as well. From the inside of the classroom, reporting their story in fear. Students are devastated and full of heartbreaking emotions. If you or someone you know has been affected by this tragic event, help is always available for you in our area. Please see below and reach out to speak to someone for help. RAFT is a crisis program that provides free phone counseling services to the local. MHA of Virginia provides support to individuals and family members in a crisis situation.
Virginia Tech shooting press release. Today, Virginia Tech and all of its students and staff have suffered a great tragedy. Starting at 7:15 a.m. this morning, a former student, Seung-Hui Cho, shot and killed two female students at the West Ambler Johnson Residence Hall in what we originally believed to be an independent incident. At around 7:24 a.m., two university officers arrived at the scene. Upon discovering the bodies, the officers began to investigate and relay the information back to Police Chief Daryl Detective. Around 7:57 a.m., this information is passed back to university officials, and there is also a meeting to discuss how to move forward from here. At around 9:40 a.m., the shooter began attacking anyone found in Norris Hall. University police arrived shortly after receiving the first 911 call. This information is passed on to the local police and Police Chief Daryl Detective, as well as 8 other officers who were dispatched to help assist in taking out the shooter. Currently, we are still looking into this person's motives and how they obtained such weapons.
10:52 a.m., April 2007, Part 2. Eventually, the university sets up a command center on campus to handle news media and family. Although some university staff go to the hospitals on their own to check on staff and students, the university does not send an official representative leaving the hospitals to handle family and media inquiries on their own. News media from around the world arrive on campus and begin interviewing students and staff and anyone who will talk to them. Campus parking lots are filled with television trucks.
As university president, I make the decision to set up a command center for family and news media to properly be directed to sources for the information they need. This is the best way to handle the media who are arriving on campus with questions about patients who are at the hospital. This is also the best decision to control how the university is portrayed. As of now, an official representative will not be sent to the hospitals to assist with media relations because there is a separate media releasing process for hospitals involving HIPAA to release the names of patients. These decisions are made based on the university crisis communications plan as it relates to best practices.
Before interviewing students and staff, reporters need to be careful who you choose to speak with. Pay attention to body language, emotional state, and etc. Sometimes people might have other motives that need to be watched out for. Reporters, be prepared with at least 3 or 4 questions and do not let the subject ramble talking on air.
Scenario 4. A graduate student submitted a video, he said, with his cell phone outside Norris Hall to the CNN report. Gunshots are heard in the background. CNN asserts the rights and broadcasts the video. CNN and other media organizations interview the student, Jamal al-Baghdadi, about his footage. Throughout the day, he is an ongoing presence in all coverage of the events. As we finally approach the student that managed to capture a live video from outside Norris Hall while all of this was in action, stop Jamal to ask a few questions. After the release of his video, where shots are heard in the background, we first apologize and send our condolences to all. We then asked Jamal, after the shots rang out, what did you hear after? What did you see? Where was your phone? And what made you want to record instead of run for shelter?
Jane Q. Public. At the time, there's so much information being thrown out. This event has completely dominated the media, and I'm unsure what is true. But at the moment, I'm still processing this tragedy. My local news station seems to have conflicting information with what's on NBC News and what CNN are putting out. But because I also have to go about my day, I don't believe I'm as informed as I could be, since I have to step away from the TV for a while more information seems to be coming out. Ethical and legal considerations. As University Police Chief, it's important that I am able to inform the campus as well as the media with as much accurate information as possible. Although I also believe it's important not to give this person any notoriety for their actions even after they are no longer alive. I am not a member of the media, and therefore I cannot control what they report, but I have the power when the mic is directed to me not to mention this person's name but once in my initial message and press release.
As a local reporter, according to RTDNA, names of victims should not be released until families are notified. Avoid photos in the names of a shooter or killer, because someone may glorify that person to be a hero or be considered a copycat.
As the university president, ethical considerations I must contemplate are when to hold the press conference and how to inform concerned family members. Best practices as it relates to my role would be to follow a crisis communications plan. This is a preparation plan set in place for emergency instances such as this. It allows the university to assess facts and implement strategies to control how the university is portrayed in the media.
In 1996, the Standards for Privacy of Individuality Identifiable Health Information Act was put in place for the main reason to require hospitals will not be allowed to release information about a patient's presence in the hospital, the nature of the injury, or even the general condition of the patient without permission.
Questions a reporter should ask. To the university during a press release, what does this mean for the students and faculty safety? Will the university be more law enforcement after this tragedy? What are the next steps? Police separately released a number of 20 fatalities confirmed dead. Can you confirm? Questions as a reporter to ask a parent of a student that's been unharmed. What were your thoughts when you found out the breaking news? Did you hear from your child any during this incident? Where was your child when the school reported the first shooting?